Fatherhood is a life commitment, and it contains the roles a male parent has to play towards their children and doesn't end at conception, as is the perception by some men who tend to surrender their responsibility to the woman once she has conceived. In the Ugandan society, the notion of single fatherhood is frowned upon by both men and women. Most men cannot comprehend raising children alone without a woman and are so terrified that they either send their children to relatives or marry the next woman to help take care of the children. Dr. Guchina Peter Musoke is a father of 5. Peter aged 23, Paul aged 20, Prosi 18, Patrick 15, and Patricia aged 9. He disagrees with this belief, having been able to raise his children single-handedly following the death of his wife 4 months after the birth of his 9-year-old daughter, Patricia.
God created us to be responsible for our children. So he could not have said that man, I deny him the ability to look after children and I give the ability to look after children to women alone.
However, given his busy life, one would expect that Dr. Guchina may be too busy to be there for his children, but following the saying, where there is a will, there is a way, he says that it's all about planning and knowing one's priorities. His daughter Prosi agrees.
The picture that he got married to us, his children. I spent 6 years in Gaza High School, but I don't remember any single time where I called him, Daddy, I need you, and he didn't show up.
As to the secret of his success with bringing up his children, and with so much love and devotion, Dr. Guchina says all he has to do is be what he wants them to be, and disputes the common adage of do as I say, but not as I do.
You teach by example. I don't drink, and I doubt that any of my children would start drinking in front of me. If you don't smoke, they will know that smoke is not acceptable and probably harmful. The way you treat your neighbors, the way you treat people who come to visit you, this is how you teach children.
The rules are not set explicitly. The rules are implied through his conduct and the natural expectations that come out of you as you grow when you're with him.
Society marginalization and socialization has put men in the position of believing they cannot raise their own children and that those abilities were only given to women, and yet time again, women too have disappointed and not risen up to the occasion.
If I was brought up peeling matoke, nesiba n'omuwumbo, like my sisters were brought up to do the same, I would be as good as my sisters or even better. But the culture stops you from doing that for considerations that are cultural. And they say your sister will do this and that, and you, the young man, going to look after the cows. But those situations where they don't prevail, we should look at each other as equal, and when one partner is not there, the other partner can do a good job.
To most men, children are an obligation, a burden, and a hindrance to having a social life, and yet to those who care enough, they are a source of meaning, happiness, and stability.
We live forever in the veins of our children.
However, Dr. Ali Maleh, a counseling psychologist, says there are some disadvantages to single parenting, especially single fatherhood. This may include having abusive fathers who may blame the absence of the spouse on the child and thus make the child's lives a living hell.
Tata yenna bw'abanga wakuza mwana nga agenda mukuza yekka ateekwa okulaba nti conflicts ze ne mukyala we yagenda oba gwe baayawukana nabo mu kooti mu ngeri etali butategeragana. Tateeka conflict ku baana kubanga abaana baba neutral tebalina buzibu.
Children need a balance of both parents so as to have both a feminine and masculine aspect, because it is common knowledge that boys get along well with mothers and girls with their fathers, except that each parent has got a role to play in the child's life.
Omusajja talina kulaga multiple roles. Talaga nti nze maama nti nze taata okugezaako kavalinga nti omukyala yannobako ebifaanana bwe bityo. Ayina okuvaayo n'abuulira omwana kyekyabaawo ate n'omwana obutamuteeka mu ensonga zaabwe wakati we ne maama eyagenda oba eyanoba.
Like when my dad is busy and I'm lonely.
Understanding the fact that I'm a girl and I need female guidance, and he, despite those difficult times, he managed to send me to a school while taking care of my siblings, a school where I would be nurtured into the lady I am today.
Challenges always come, and while some men give up without a fight, without even taking the very first step, it has been proven as possible to raise a family single-handedly, man or woman, with the only distinctive aspect between men and women being their procreation functions, but beyond which any can play any role in the aspect of parenting.
Once you look at men and women as equal, that means they have similar abilities to do things, with the exception of the one I talked about of carrying a baby. So once you have that attitude, when you find yourself that you are left with your children, you should know that in you, you have the abilities to look after those children.
Dr. Guchina has been able to raise his 5 children, and for the past 9 years, he's been able to be both father and mother to them, working with them to be responsible, respectable, and caring individuals who care about each other greatly, filling any void there might be.
He has managed to be there for us, and at least he has been able to give us a good example of what a father is.
On my side, everything has been okay because it all takes to be exemplary. He has been exemplary to us, and most of us now have ended up his way. That's why you may find that in our family, most of us, the first 4, because we are 5, are going to end up becoming lawyers because he has been exemplary to us, and all of us now have taken up that occupation.
For such success, however, there is need for public support and fighting against the notion that without a mother, raising children is an impossible mission. It may be as easy when both parents are there, but the parental responsibility cannot be sacrificed.